What's up, everybody? Marty Martin here. This is the Geek Nick Podcast. I am your host, and yes, I know I am late to the big. I'm going to give the big two announcements that happened this past weekend, and I'm sorry I got caught up in a lot of things, but I'm here now. And yeah, the biggest news happened the past week. Number 2, The Mandalorian. And number 1, the news that shattered everything else, Popeye's new chicken sandwich. No, I'm just kidding. No. The Rise of Skywalker was finally released. It was showed at D23, and for those of you that don't know, D23 is actually a fan club convention of Disney that commemorates the founding of Disney in 1923, hence D23. And it was held in Anaheim a couple days ago, and they showed the trailer there, and now the trailer is out right now. Now, I already reacted to it. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I want to go through scene by scene of what really impressed me, and I was in awe. I was just, amazed by it, the trailer. So, we're going to break it down now. I watched it about three times now, and each time that I watched it, I still got the same positive feeling after seeing it the second time, but on the third time, I'm trying not to get too excited, and especially when I did a lot of thinking. So, let's look at this here. So, I'm already getting chills here, right? Watching this for the first time. I'm getting legit chills. And just filled with joy, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And, again, I'm still being amazed by this, but then again, I hear Mark Hamill's voiceover, and I still can't get over the fact of that Luke is gone, and, how The Last Jedi was, man. And this is what also gave me chills. There's giving a callback to the prequel series. They're acknowledging the prequel series. They don't show the nostalgia of the prequels, only of the originals. But I enjoyed the prequels. I still do enjoy them. And compared to The Last Jedi, they are works of art. I will go as far as to say that. But I really believe that Revenge of the Sith is on my top 5 favorite Star Wars. Revenge of the Sith is amazing. Say what you want about it. Yes, these movies are flawed. Bad writing in it. But, I still enjoy it. I still love it. Still love it. But yes, the nostalgia is being pumped up more as the following scenes here. And then, again, I was reminded that because I get so lost in the nostalgia that I forget about, the sequel trilogy. And it reminds me that, oh man, we're in the sequel trilogy. Dang it. Really?
This is your fight.
So, I was just losing interest again. that's just how I'm pretty. That's how much I dislike the sequels. I'm just not really on board. That looks cool. I want to know, what is this here? Where are they at? Whatever that place is cool, and hopefully it's pretty colorful and everything. You know what it reminds me? I don't know if you guys saw the newest Aladdin movie. It kind of reminds me of the whole celebration scene, or just the little towns in Aladdin. That's what that's what it kind of looks like to me. It reminds me of that. Rest in peace. How many? I'm just curious right there. How many shots did they do with Carrie Fisher? Because they said they're using all like recycled, never before seen, clips of Carrie Fisher. How much did they do? How much? That's what I want to know. I mean, it's almost like she didn't die. It's like almost like low key, she's still alive. It's weird, really weird. This blew my mind. But let me go back. I kind of doubt that this is an actual thing. Some tells because no, there cannot be that many. No, I think this is probably gonna be like in a dream. Maybe Luke is having a dream about this, Ray or whoever, whatever. Because this is pretty surreal right here. That is very surreal. It seems like something you would see in a bad dream or in a nightmare. That's what it seems like. It seems too scary to be true. Let's continue. Now, what's up with C-3PO? Did he pop some electrical eye vessels? I wonder why his eyes are red. Is like, did it become bad or something? It becomes more interesting, as I go through the trailer. That is cool. Whoa! Back up. That. Ooh, that's the thing. Gosh, I can't remember the name, but that's what young Jedi apprentices would use to, train. You remember that thing? You remember from episode 4?
Stretch out with your feelings. You see? You can do it.
I call it luck.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
Look, good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living, it's something else.
Yeah, that's it. That part. That's what I was talking about. Can't remember what they're called. This looks pretty cool. I don't know what this is that they're fighting on. But, I mean, I don't know. Final duel matches they're kind of dying out because they always amp it up in the Star Wars trailers. Like, I don't know.
Yes, it's him.
It's interesting because Star Wars Theory, he made a very convincing observation regarding this clip regarding Rey right here. I don't think that's Rey. And even Star Wars Theory said that. Because look, she doesn't really look like Rey. I mean, she looks like a clone, almost like a replicant, basically. I mean, just look at her eyes, the way she looks. She's skinnier too. Her face is more defined as well, kind of more chiseled. But I mean, come on, this is just dope. This is dope. And something tells me this might be a dream as well that Rey might have. You know, I just feel like they've been amping this trilogy so much that they get your hopes up, and then it's not as amazing. Like, you know, it's one of those things where the trailers are better than the movie themselves. You know? You know how it is? Like, Suicide Squad is a pretty crappy movie. It's a bad movie, okay? But the trailer is better than the movie. The trailer is phenomenal. You know? You got those... It's just so ironic that sometimes movies, some of the worst movies or the bad movies that have been made have some of the greatest movie trailers of all time. You know? So, movie trailers, they can be very deceiving. Because I know... with The Last Jedi, I was pretty pumped about it, and I guess it's just that we have so many high expectations, and it's not really our fault, it's how it's being marketed. That's really what it is. That's how we get high hopes. I wasn't getting the high hopes or the excitement because, like, you know, when The Force Awakens came out, it wasn't just because, oh, they're having an episode 7. No, it was because how they were marketing it. How it was going to be the next big thing. That's how Disney was promoting it. And then you had the cast saying, this is amazing, this is phenomenal. And then you had critics come out and saying, like, oh, this is it. This is the best since the originals and everything. You know, so you're being told, you know, it's all hyped up. And then you go along with the hype, and then you enjoy it in the moment because, you know, you have been told that this, if you're not hyped, it basically is that if you're not hyped about this, that we've been hyping it up about, there's something wrong with you. So in a way, we kind of have to force ourselves to be hyped the moment we're introduced to it because we're being told that this is something that you're supposed to be hyped about. But then, you know, because again, it all involves emotions. It all involves dopamine. You get all excited and everything. And then, you know, because again, hindsight is 20/20. When you sit down and think about the movie you just saw, and then watch the movies that you grew up watching, and then compare it to the one that you saw that everybody was amping it up about, evaluate it and see that, try to see, is it as good as society was promoting it, how the media was marketing it. And I can tell you, not just me, but a lot of Star Wars fans, they would agree that it's not that good. It's not. The Force Awakens is not aging well because, again, people, the young Star Wars fans, or people that are new, like I have friends that were never into Star Wars, and the first movie they were introduced to was The Force Awakens, and they loved it, but because they didn't watch the originals, or like they didn't watch all, like a full, like have a sit down experience of watching the movies, only seen parts of it, the movie doesn't carry much weight to them compared to a lifelong Star Wars fanatic. So I've had friends and people that I know, they watched the whole series, the whole saga, the whole Skywalker saga. They watched it and compared it to The Force Awakens, and they said, Force Awakens is not that great. It's not that great of a movie. It's actually a carbon copy of A New Hope. It really is. I'm not saying Force Awakens is a bad movie. It's fun, it's entertaining. I mean, if I was able to watch it more than twice, then it's an enjoyable movie. It's a good movie, but it's it's a copy. That's the problem. And people are saying, "Oh, fans don't like the movies because it's something new and everything." It's nothing new. You just have they make you think it's new by having, first of all, the cameras are different, cinematography is different, technology is different. We know that for sure. The the resolution is different than compared to 1977, 1980, and 1983. And of course, it's more energetic. There's more humor in it, so the writing style has changed, and um, new faces, new actors. And the original actors are older too. New villain, new planets, everything. You just have new things, but it's the same concept, the same blueprint. It really is. Until you really get down to it. Because I had a debate with a friend of mine, and he said, "No, you guys just don't like it because it's new. It's going against the nostalgia and you fanboys and everything." It's like, no, dude, we don't like it because it's not original. That's the problem. It's not. That's what really upset us. It's not because Han Solo died. It's because we've seen this movie and it's disappointing. That's what it is. Now, The Force Awakens is more rewatchable than The Last Jedi. Because The Last Jedi, the way they made the changes, they're all about changes, making something new, but it wasn't well done. Look, just because you made changes doesn't mean they were good. Just like how in movies, just because you have jump scares in a horror movie, that doesn't make it a good horror film. Sometimes adding a lot of jump scares could actually make it even worse. Like, for example, the movie Paranormal Activity. I saw the first one. I jumped. It got me, nervous, but it wasn't really scary. The jump scares are what got me, but the movie in itself wasn't scary to me. I mean, it just wasn't. The way it was directed, the way it was written and everything, it just didn't feel scary. Now, a movie like A Quiet Place by John Krasinski, that movie was scary because there weren't too many jump scares. As a matter of fact, they made sure they didn't milk the jump scares because the reason why they add so many jump scares into a horror film or a thriller movie is because they're not creative enough to set the whole tone to be scary. The tone of it, and then also why is the character scary? Because also people watch a horror movie and they're not afraid of the villain. They're afraid of something being popped up. That's the thing. So they rely on pop-ups to scare you rather than the villain or the character in itself. Alright? Don't be afraid of something that's gonna pop up. You're supposed to be afraid of, for like Michael Myers or something. Or Norman Bates. The dude from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those are what make a horror movie scary. It's the antagonist, the villain. But today you don't have that. You don't. The villain is not scary anymore, or the antagonist, whatever it is, it's not scary. It's the jump scares that startle you, and they're short-lived. That's the thing. They're short-lived. And Paranormal Activity, I could watch that movie again because now I've seen it. I know when the jump scares are going to happen. It doesn't scare me anymore. It doesn't scare me. But A Quiet Place, I mean, even though it's not a horror movie, let's say compared to Friday the 13th or Psycho, it's still more intense than Paranormal Activity. Because the story in itself, there's also no dialogue. Like almost like 90% of the movie, there is no talking. There was no talking. Might as well be a silent film. That is what was very well done, and you were very concerned about the well-being of the characters in A Quiet Place. So of course, because these characters were so well written, even though they didn't really talk much, you actually empathized and felt like, a connection with them. And the thought of any of them getting hurt or being killed made the movie even more intense because you're like, I don't want that person to die. I like, and that's very good right there. I like that. You're concerned about the character, but whereas a movie like Paranormal Activity or all the other modern horror movies and scary movies, you're saying, oh man, I don't want something to pop up. But in A Quiet Place, you're like, no, I don't want that person to die. You see what I'm saying? So it's scary because you're afraid that something bad is going to happen to the character, but you're afraid that you're going to get startled. So to me, that's bad writing. That's a bad horror movie, in my opinion. So, like, with The Last Jedi, spoiler alert, okay? Just because you kill off a bunch of characters in it, that doesn't mean that's a good thing. It's not. And it's not that it's the way you kill them, that's where it's weak. It's like, wow. And then with Leia, oh my goodness. Again, when they just blew up that ship, and she went flying into space doing cartwheels, and then she comes back to life in sub-zero degree temperature outer space, just flies like Superwoman back into the ship, and then they put her into like a coma or whatever. She falls into a coma, and then voila, plot twist, she's alive. She wakes up and everything. So it was just a lame way. It was just dumb. That's really what it was. And then with Luke training Rey, first of all, there really wasn't much training in it. We didn't really get to have Luke in it. We just got this grumpy old man, this bitter man, Then they wanted to destroy, the Jedi textbooks when we don't know about these textbooks. I didn't even see the textbooks in the entire Star Wars saga. This is the first time we actually see the books. And then, he's just going to destroy them and everything. And so, I mean, the movie was a mess. That's what it was. I'm not mad that they killed off Luke. I'm just mad how they did it. And it just wasn't good. It just wasn't. And if you like The Last Jedi, that's fine. There's nothing wrong. You can like a bad movie, okay? You can like a bad movie. Some people enjoy watching The Room by Tommy Wiseau. I enjoy watching it sometimes too because it's funny and it's so bad that it's hilarious, So, I mean, if you enjoy it, that's fine, But it's a bad movie. There's nowhere, no argument right there, okay? You like Sharknado. Sharknado's a horrible movie, okay? So just like how The Room, Sharknado, Plan 9 from Outer Space are bad movies, so is The Last Jedi. So, again, just because you're killing off people, and adding new characters and having a more diverse cast doesn't make it original, and it doesn't make it better. It doesn't mean it's a good story. Again, just because there's a horror movie that's filled with jump scares and relies on jump scares, that's not what makes it a good horror movie. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. So I just see it that it's lazy writing. It's not creative. It's just lazy. That's really what it is. It's lazy, and they just want to get through it. And I don't have a problem with the character Rey. People think when they hear me complain about the Star Wars movies, this is what I'm really mad about. I'm mad that we're not getting enough. Like, it's almost like there should be a fourth movie. Because I understand, everybody thinks 3 films is the perfect number. Beginning, middle, and end. Trilogy. I beg to differ. I disagree. For most movies. I feel like sometimes 3 is not enough. I think 4 is the golden number. I think 4 is. Because you have beginning, middle, and end, and the icing on the cake, like something that was just really good. Like the one movie that had a great 4th film, and I think the perfect ending too for his franchise is Toy Story 4. It's a perfect example of why I believe 4 movies for a franchise is the perfect number, and I'm actually going to do a video on that, on why I think having 4 films is better than having a trilogy, and specifically I'll talk about it regarding Star Wars, because it seems like this is a dense story because there is lack of character development here. Like, we have no connection to Finn. If Finn died, I would not feel bad. Like, when I thought Finn was going to sacrifice himself in The Last Jedi, first of all, I wasn't going to feel bad, but I would have liked him even more because now we see him as an integral character, a big part of the story, and give us something to admire him for. But that was all messed up by Rose. So, I just don't care about Finn. I don't care about Poe Dameron. I don't like Poe. I don't like any of these characters. And with Rey, the thought of her dying doesn't really, it doesn't devastate me. It doesn't. It's a bummer. That's the thing. I don't want a character's death to be a bummer. Okay? That means that character is not good. Okay? A bummer. No. A bummer is something that you feel like, for example, like, let's talk about Stranger Things Season 3. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. When Alexi died, that was a bummer. That was sad. It was like, man, that sucks. Golly. But then when Hopper, quote unquote, died, let's just say he died for sure. Let's just say that, because I'm pretty sure he didn't. Okay, let's say 100% he died. Okay, that is sad and sometimes somewhat devastating, because he's such a good character. He's so likable. He's a father figure, and the one person with the clearest head, be strong, very upfront, and courageous too. He's like a superhero. But then killing him off, especially when you see him becoming, a father again, by, taking care of 11, basically having legal rights of being her father. You saw the relationship that they had together. It was like it was real cool. It was cool. Like, I like Hopper. He's a cool guy. He's a decent man. He's a good man. And then the way he died too, it's just wow, really? Wow. That's so sad. So I'm not getting any of that from Rey, because her character is developing so fast that we can't keep up with her. You can't really develop a connection with someone when they're growing so fast. You need to enjoy the moments, go along with it, grow. We need to grow with the character, and if you just rush the character, then there's no connection. You know, if we're not growing with the character, then that means your character is not growing. Okay? That's the only way we can have a connection, is that we're keeping up with the character. We're seeing the character change and go through circumstances in their life that, like, for example, okay, each character in a Star Wars movie has gone through something horrible, and then they come back, and whatever they went through that was so horrible changed them and made them stronger. So, like, for example, Luke Skywalker, when he got his hand chopped off by Darth Vader. Oh man, it went real after that. After that, he was like, you want to go there, huh? Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna go back to Yoda's place, and when I come back, I'm gonna chop your arm off too. Same thing with Han Solo. They put him in that little cryo chamber thing. You know, have him frozen in that thing. I mean, like, we thought he was gone. We thought that was it. But then, you know, he comes back to life, and you know, he's back, better and everything. You know, he comes back and he becomes like you see him differently now as a character that survives now, and you actually have more respect for him. You know, you appreciate him more. Rey has gone through nothing. Nothing. Not one single... She has not gone through any form of tragedy. And they say she has a tragic past, but because we didn't see that, we didn't see her develop, we don't have a connection. There's no emotional connection with Rey. So that's why I just don't like this series. And again, I'm more upset that episode 9 is going to be the ending, because there's so much that needed to be covered that is impossible that they'll cover it all in this movie. Because we're talking basically like whole 3 hours of information, maybe at minimum 2.5 hours that we need in order for these characters to be well developed. 2.5 hours more of material and substance. But because you don't have those 2.5 hours, it's just not going to cut it for this one movie. It's just not. So, I don't want to get my hopes up. I mean, it looks awesome. It really does. But I think right now we should stay away from doing theories and just go and watch the movie. Not expect anything. Because that's another problem with us Star Wars fans. We overanalyze things because we get so excited. We can't wait. So what do we do when we can't wait? In order to keep us pumped up, we need to keep talking about Star Wars. We need to keep talking about it. But what can we talk about until opening night? We can't just be talking about the trailer. Oh, we should talk about the Easter eggs. Oh, we should talk about the meaning of these Easter eggs. Oh, maybe there's a metaphor. Maybe there's a puzzle. Or here's a theory that I think this clip right here is going to lead to that. I think that person is so-and-so. And when the movie comes out, it's none of that. It's none of that. And everything we did was a waste of time. But the reason why we did that is because we needed to do something that kept us waiting for opening night. And because we were so disappointed with The Last Jedi, and felt that Solo was a mediocre movie, Rise of Skywalker, a lot of people were forgetting about this movie. They were forgetting about this movie. I think the only movie that people talked about the most this year that actually hasn't gotten really any like much marketing to as much, but Joker. Joker is the one movie that I heard people talk more about than any other summer movie or the movie that came out since Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame, and well, it came pretty fast too. It came like I think less than a year, like within 10 months, 11 months. I think so, something like that. But yeah, after Avengers Endgame, people were talking more about Joker. And I think I'm leaving out another movie, but I know Joker's a big one. And it's not a franchise movie. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A lot of people were talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But yeah, you saw more ads for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Joker too. These are non-franchise movies. Joker is based on a comic book character, a comic book villain, but it's a standalone movie that completely shows it doesn't even look like a DC movie. It's a whole total different thing. It just so happens to have a DC villain, a DC character. But with the Rise of Skywalker, people actually forgot about it. And we didn't get a trailer. The last trailer was in April of the Rise of Skywalker, and now we're in late August, getting into September, and the movie comes out this December. That's a lot to take in. So I don't know. I just think it's a big mess. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna do any theories and everything. I don't do any of that because at the end of the day, we only do it try to keep ourselves busy or to keep us excited and to give us reasons. That's another thing. The reason why we get so invested into theories is because we want to make it a reason why we should go see the movie. But then everything, like 100% of everything that we were predicting and saying is completely off, wrong. But yeah. But I'll see it. I'll definitely see the movie. I'm a Star Wars fan, so we'll say it at that and leave it at that. And in another episode, I will discuss why I think 4 movies for a series is the perfect number. So until then, live long and prosper, and may the Force be with you.